Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are Speaker Insight in two different houses as usual at the moment. We help speakers, authors, and sorry, got a bug. We help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a business on your terms. And today we are absolutely talking about the difference between free and paid content, because it seems to be something that's coming up a lot at the moment. Lots of people are being very generous with their knowledge, and that's creating, I think, some confusion for a lot of people around what should I be giving away for free and what shouldn't I? The difference between free and paid content, it seems to be something that's coming up a lot at you, Kelly. Is it coming out to you?
Yeah, so I was just sharing it out and I heard your voice twice. I was like, what?
So I was like, oh, I was actually having a little press of my own buttons and going, is that me? Is that you? I can't work that out. So the consummate professionals that we are, I'm just going to ask you all, what's the buzz in your business? So for those of you who know how this one goes, the buzz in your business is what's exciting, intriguing, what's happening, what are you learning? What are you putting into place at the moment that is keeping you busy in some way, shape or form? We would love to know what the buzz in your business is, whilst I tell you some of the buzz in our business. Obviously, we're still staying in and we're making really good use of this time. So we are creating courses for you, not one, but two at the moment. Well, three, if you count a third thing that just sort of happened recently. So, sort of we're in Ideaville, but also putting those ideas into action for sure. And the second thing is that, Kelly's even busier than I am, because what have you been up to, my darling?
Oh, what have we not been up to? But as well as managing all the hats that we do, some of you might know that I have a homeless charity called Under One Sky. And I know a lot of the people are under the impression that homeless are being housed at the moment by hotels and hostels. And the majority of them are, but there are quite a few, and I'm only dealing with London at the moment. We're probably feeding about 450 homeless people a night at the moment who aren't in any accommodation and are, desperate because
sorry, that's me.
I know a lot of these people they can't use any spare change in shops because they're not allowed to do it. Soup kitchens are all closed down. So we've actually just in the last, I think it's been 48 hours, we've raised about another £4,000 to support this charity, and we have about 60 volunteers going out every night and coordinating all the food. And so it's just a manic production line, but we're doing our best to serve those on the street. So any donations are greatly appreciated. Anybody who wants to volunteer in London, then we're all clearance for PPE and being able to do this as a charity. So please let me know, just PM me and I'll put the link in the comments.
Yeah, please put the link in the comments, babe.
Yeah, the internet is playing up tremendously. So when I can't see any comments, Helena, so you'll have to.
Oh, I can, and I was just about to say. So Jo Fellows has got some buzz in her business, which I know for sure, being a change maker. The buzz in her business is being almost there with her website, and I know a lot of people are really working and shaping their website. So you're in good company, Jo. Well done, and it looks stunning. Your photos are amazing. Taruna says hi, and you're getting congratulated a little bit. Joanne Brianti is saying the buzz in her business is new business name, define the framework, define the new brand, get in there, girl, wow. Is all I can say. Well done, you. And Taruna is saying the buzz in her business is she's still getting leads and having the conversations, which today is a really good thing. So Kelly, are you all right over there?
I'm gonna just quickly. So if you just do, I'm just gonna quickly switch to my Ethernet. So just
right. So I'll just tell you a little bit more about today's live whilst Kelly kind of goes off and disappears and does a little bit of that. Keep telling us the buzz in your business. And I for those of you who are joining us not live but instead on the hashtag replay, please pop that in here, because as always, this is a tag us, tell us what you're learning. Ask us the questions, even if it's after the fact. So one of the key things around today's live, which sort of has been coming in over the last sort of, as people are settling into being either in self-isolation or in lockdown in some way, a lot of content is going out there. And so some of the questions that we've either been seeing in our grub, in our connection hub, enough grub. I think maybe I'm hungry. Maybe my body is trying to tell me that you haven't had any lunch yet. That's hilarious. The connection grub? Kelly, there's a whole set of dinners we could do. Oh my word, now I'm in. For when we're all allowed, maybe that's what we'll do. Right, so here's the thing. We have a group where speakers, authors, and coaches can really do the connection and have the conversation. So if you are not in there, whilst you are learning from these videos, absolutely brilliant on the Speaker Insight page, but do come and join us inside the Connection Hub, because that really is where the conversation takes place. And one of those has been around, what content do I share? So there's definitely some confusion around the distinctions about what to give away and what to hold on to when it comes to content. So we thought we'd demystify that a little bit today. So we're going to make some of those distinctions really by helping you to think through. So this is definitely a pen and paper job today. So if you haven't got that, Taruna's saying she's just had lunch. I think she's digging at me. Which is really cool. Oh, and then Andrea saying hello, and also Joanne saying that she loved Joe Fellows' new website. So there's a lot of love going around here, which is really good. So the thing about this is that you need to start understanding what content is going to be valued by your audience, and what stage or process someone is in, your avatar is in, when they are consuming the content that you're presenting to them. So we want to help you think through some of those things. Yeah. One of the biggest things around that is that, you know, we've all got content. Don't even go there. You have content. All of you have content. Whatever comes out of your mouths, you are an expert in your field. As a speaker, author, or coach, you are an expert in the thing that you are skilled in, whether that is simply the speaking, authoring, or coaching, and helping people do those things, because some of the people in our group are definitely that's their business. But a lot of you are actively skilled in leadership development, training, all sorts of things that you are skilled at. So you have content whether you think you have it or not. The difference is that some of that content absolutely shows your avatar the answer to the thing that they have an issue with, and some of that content absolutely shows them how to solve it. And that's the difference. So yes, your job as a speaker, author, or coach is to help them understand the problem or issue that they have before they go and solve the problem, if that makes sense. So that's part of the distinction. So getting that balance right between what you give away for free and what you actually put into your paid content is vital, and it is absolutely linked to your user journey. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that as well, about when you're meeting them. So, you know, Kelly and I talk over and over and over about meeting your avatar where they have the problem. You know, you've probably seen me do this a million times now, for those of you who are used to us. You know, the problem that someone is facing is the only thing that they're seeing. They can't see beyond anything. So our job as a person who may have a solution for them is to meet them where that problem is and to hang out with them. It's not solve the problem. It's simply to hang out with them and go, oh, I see that you have a problem. Okay, let me help you a little bit about the understanding about why they have this problem and why it is a problem. Because they are not ready. When someone's here, they're not actually ready for you to turn around and go, here's what you need to do. A lot of the time you need to step back and actively help them understand why it's a problem, why they've got it specifically, and that help is at hand. It's reassurance. That's kind of where we're going with this. So I'll hand over to Kelly and she can say a little bit more about this piece.
I've got my phone, guys. That's what, if I'm looking down, because my internet's got the wheel of death going on, so I can't use my laptop, but I will look at comments on my phone. So Helena's alluded to this, right? Especially in this time where we're all at home, and I know lots of my clients are going, oh, this is the perfect time to actually build my marketing plan, look at my content creation. And then, you know, and this is when Dawn messaged me, I think it was this week, saying, can you do a live on the difference between the type of content you give away for free and what you pay for? As Helena said, this is a common thing that we get asked, especially at our retreat. So Serena just got a sale. Great.
Just on that, it's like I wasn't going to interrupt you then. It's like, how good on you, darling? Well done.
I think all of us can associate with the time when you know you've given answers away to people, you've given content away to people when you know they should have paid for that. You've gone, oh my God, that was really juicy, that was really valuable. Why did I just give that away for free? We are all guilty of this. And that's because you guys are like us, right? You're like-valued, like-minded, and you want to serve people, you want to help people. Yeah. But we need to help ourselves as well as help others. And as Helena rightly said, you need to meet them where they're at. So these are some of the couple of key principles to be thinking about when you're thinking about the content. You all know an awful lot about your subject, okay? Even if you are only 2 steps in front of where your avatar is, it's much more than they already know. I always give the example that you don't need to have all the letters after your name and all of the qualifications and all the research. If for somebody is looking, if someone's just had a newborn baby and they don't know how to get it to sleep, and you go, oh, I know, I've had a newborn baby and I know how to make it sleep, this instant methodology, that person doesn't care how qualified you are. They're like, give me the information, just tell me how to do it, right? Because you're just a couple of steps ahead of them. But what you need to do is you need to meet them where they're at. So they need to learn straight away, what can they do that night to help their baby stop crying? Not, oh my God, this is how you be the perfect parent to them when they're teenagers, because they're not ready to hear that yet. They've got a screaming baby and they haven't slept for 48 hours. Mm-hmm. Just tell them the information that they need right now. So that's the first thing, is you know a lot, but some of the content your audience might not be ready to hear yet. So you need to bite-size it down and meet them where they're at. The second thing is that you also need to earn the right to be able to teach and give them more and more content. And this is really what the free content allows you to do, because you're actually meeting them where they're at, giving them some advice, some tips, some insight into this new world that you're going to introduce them to. And then they build up this relationship of trust with you. Then they go, oh my God, this person really knows her stuff, or I really like her approach, or I really like the way that she delivers this. And you earn the right to go on a further journey with them, which is into the paid content world. Free content in itself, you're monitoring comments, aren't you, darling? Because I'm not looking.
I am indeed. Lots of people are congratulating Serena on a sale, and she's saying celebrating any win, which of course I'm just going, yes, I love that. So it's completely fine and you're doing great.
So the free content that we're talking about are the things like we're doing right now, Facebook Lives, and the blogs. So they're just where you show up on a regular basis, whatever your platform is. But this is based around, the content should be based around what your avatar already knows or is already searching for a solution for. It's what they're Googling, right? So it's not about educating about something completely new. They already know they want to do something or they want to solve something, and they're looking for a direct answer to that. Your job is to raise their awareness about this stage that they're at. So raise their awareness with this free content of why they might have the problem, why they're asking this question. And then you can, in this free content, raise their awareness of why they have the problem, and also outline what the next steps could be to set them on the right path to change that. What the free content doesn't do is explain these steps and go into detail and teach on how to do them. The free content goes, oh, well, I understand you've got a screaming baby, blah, 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 blah. The reasons why a kid might be screaming, and I don't know why I've chosen the subject about children because I know nothing about them, but it could be the fact that they've got a wet nappy. It could be that they're hungry. It could be that they're blah, blah, blah. All these things are the reasons why they're crying.
Well done, Kelly. Well done. You're doing well.
But, and that's what they're ready to hear. And then you go, okay, so what you need to do as a parent is these are the routines to put into place, but you don't teach them how to implement the routines. You're just telling them the things that they might be doing differently. So this is what free content does, is it raises their awareness. Paid content is when you go into the detail and you coach them through something. This is taking them through a process, stages, your intellectual property. this is where the transformation happens with your client and your avatar. This is where they get the results. They get insights at this free content stage. They get awareness, and they get maybe a plan of action of what to do. But the coaching and the transformation and the real change happens at the paid stage. I hope that sort of outlines a bit of the difference. To set up what we're going to teach you now are the different types, or some different types of free content, and also a little bit more about the paid and how important that is.
Yeah, so the thing about this is how long is a piece of string, right? You know, sort of, so you're going to need to find where your happy medium is, and you're still going to need to do a little bit of work on what that looks like for you. But we're going to give you some containers for the types of free content that you could actively be putting out there. The call to action for all of you is absolutely to be thinking about, what am I putting out there? Is it falling into this, or is it falling into the other one? And so be listening for that as you go, and actually be listening out for ideas for things that you could be doing or should be doing in your world according to what your avatar needs. So the types, so the first type, and Kelly's already alluded to this, the first thing about free content is it really is about raising awareness. It's absolutely about helping them to understand more about their problem. You know, they already have an inkling that they have a problem. Some of them are highly likely to be kind of doing an ostrich and hiding from the fact that they've got a problem. So you might actually be sharing free content around the reasons why they're finding themselves in that situation, why they might be avoiding a situation, why they might be hesitating about taking action. So that's like you recognizing where someone's at and actually stepping in to say, knock, knock, knock. Hi, I know you've got a problem, and here's why. Because sometimes even understanding why, one of the things I say a lot of the time is simple awareness is often curative. It was something that was taught to me a very long time ago. And just sometimes knowing and coming face to face with a truth and a fact is enough for people to then begin to take the next step. So sometimes your free content is just a raising of awareness of, you've been hiding around this particular thing. Let's help you understand why. The second thing is your raising of awareness is sometimes about telling them what they don't know that they don't know, if that makes sense. So sometimes they're stuck, but they don't know why they're stuck. So your job is to take them back a step and go, hey, are you stuck? This might be why. Because that's really opening them up to things that they hadn't thought about, bringing in new perspectives, allowing them to see things from a different angle. Go for it, Kel.
And an example, I have no idea why I chose this bloody baby theme today, it just popped into my head. But a raising awareness thing is actually sometimes when you're going to give them a little bit of a tip or an insight. So say, for example, with teething babies, I don't even know how I know this, but amber, which is really random, but amber is something really good for them to chew on and suck for teething babies, right? So that's a raising awareness. They might not know that they were crying because they're teething, and they wouldn't not know that the solution to that, it is solving a problem, but it's not where it's like the fact that you have to handhold them through a coaching process, right? And people say to us all the time, we give away so much advice, and yes, we do. But actually, we raise your awareness of a lot of things. We point you and signpost you to lots of resources and tips like that, not amber for baby sucking, but in the Speaker Insight world, an equivalent. But we actually, when people come into Changemaker Central, our membership platform, or the retreat, they see and feel the difference between the hand-holding of the coaching that we do there, rather than they think this is great, but that's on another level. So just think, I'm just using that example of the amber as a way that you can teach somebody what they don't already know.
Yeah. And it's really important to kind of make that distinction about what you're doing in your free content is building your reputation, is building relationship, is actually having people connect to you, your style, and the way in which you're operating that allows them to go, wow, that person, he knows his stuff, or they know what they're up to. And that then, on a consistent basis, on the back of you putting out consistent content, there's that other word. I think the two words we use most in this land are avatar and consistency. But if you are coming out consistently with free content that allows them to know a little bit more, and the emphasis is on a little bit more. Today's tidbit is this. That's what you're doing in your free content. So providing a little bit more information than they had before, which might even be the stuff that they subconsciously knew or was in, somebody told me that a long time ago, a bit like Kelly just demonstrated. I don't know how I know amber's good for them, but that's where it is. It's you bringing that forward again and giving them the information, but linking it through to the problem so that those two things are now sitting directly together and give somebody a tiny step forward that allows them to do it. And some of the ways in which you can do this are absolutely, telling a case study, sharing a case study of someone that you've worked with, that you've taken them through these things, is a great way of providing free content that works in this way. Back to the information piece, an infographic might be a perfect way for you to put the information in front of people around why they're either hiding, hesitating, not doing, or indeed allows them to go, oh, I knew about steps 1 and 2, and I think I knew about steps 6 and 7, but I didn't realize these 3, 4, and 5 were in the middle. No wonder I've not been doing things. So raising awareness is your first kind of port of call for the free content. How can you raise their awareness?
But that's one of the types of content out there when you're doing free content is, this is probably the one which is the most popular, because this is where Helena says you meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
The other one, there's about 4 or 5 of these. One of the other ones which is really good at converting and really shows that you're listening to your avatar is when you create free content around answering their questions, right? And I have to
like this
one. We are bloody awesome at this, right? That's basically because in the Connection Hub at the moment now we've got, 6,500 people or so, and we're actively listening to what you want. And this Facebook Live was because Dawn asked for it and lots of other people. So we listen to the commonly asked questions that you put into the group. We also are on other Facebook groups with other speakers, also coaches, and we are listening in there too about what people are asking for. And then what we do is you dictate the titles and the content for our Facebook Live schedules, right? We know there's some things we want to give you because there's stuff, as Helena just said, raising awareness and stuff you didn't even know you didn't know. But I would say 80% of our Facebook Lives are because you've requested this information in some form or another. And this is our way of actually just going, let's raise your awareness, let's teach you a little bit, but not handhold you through how to implement and do, okay? Yeah. These Facebook Lives are very teachy, but they're very much on the early stage of the journey because most of you, and that's why most of them are titled How To, because we start you in the right direction. We give you a plan, we give you something to go and research and look into, but we don't tell you how to do it, okay? So think about how you can ask the questions. Could you do polls? Could you do surveys? How can you be actively listening? Are you keeping the document like what we do of the frequently asked questions so that you can collate and see what people are actually asking for and then provide it? And then the types of content you can create as a result of this are like what we do, Facebook Lives. You could have Q&A sessions. So we have Q&A sessions in weekly in our Changemaker group, but some people do them in their own free groups as well on a regular basis. And we've also have, I don't know how many it is, about 16 or 18 lead magnets now, which are all
18 now,
all PDF downloads or guides and things like that, which are the early stages to help people to, how do I know what CRM matrix to use? How do I know how to use scheduling software? All these types of things. We give you those early stage guides to raise your awareness, and then you go and choose and implement that CRM system. So answering questions is a really popular type of free content that you can do that meets your avatar where they're at.
So one of the key things,
by the way, my phone, the page not loading. I have no idea what's going on with my internet, but I can't see anything.
Don't worry, darling, you're coming across fine, and I think everyone's as I'm looking at it here, it looks like you're lip synced. It looks like everything's going all right. So we'll just go with that. If those of you who are out there listening not kind of, you know, because I obviously can't hear the sound on that one because that would be weird, then let us know if it's too odd and we might go again. But it looks like people are paying attention. I think they've started doing the thing where they're ignoring comments and they're just writing stuff down, which is really cool.
Just give us a thumbs up if it's all good sound and audio, guys.
Please let us know, right? Take a moment whilst we're rambling for you to come away from your notes and go back in. Right. So one of the other kind of types, if you like, that you want to be thinking around your free content is absolutely giving the context or setting the context in which the problem is sitting. So sometimes it's actually really useful to make people just go, you know, I'm not going mad, I'm not stupid, I'm not, you know, all the judgments that people have around, oh my God, I don't know this stuff, people are better than me, letting your imposter syndrome come in, all of that stuff might well happen. And it's not needed. Taruna's saying it's fine, so we're good, hon. The giving of context is absolutely, just think a moment ago when Kelly said how to. If you think about the words how to before anything, notice how that, like, imagine the problem that you've currently got. Maybe it is a how to do a Facebook Live or something along those lines. And you go, here is a guide on how to do Facebook Lives. That makes you just go, and that's also what
people love a roadmap. People love guidance, right? That structured guidance, not into the coaching, but just what I call it is the glasshouse effect. If you tell people what they need to do and what the road ahead looks like, they can breathe a little bit more because they can see what's expected. And then they go, oh my God, I can do up to there, but from there, I'm going to need some help. And that's stepping into paid content.
Yay! Which is how it works. So when you give context, so some of the free content that you're going to put is going to give them context. It's like establishing what else goes around this problem, what other information is available that allows them to have more clarity about this problem or why they specifically have hit the hurdle that they've hit right now. So the context giving is also about just giving the why you need to know this piece of information, because then you won't go through the headache or 6 weeks of struggling with something if you just know this one piece of information. This might be the one thing that you're missing that actually helps you understand where taking this action. Sometimes when we're hesitating about an action, we hesitate around it because we don't understand how it helps us in the wider picture. Why do I need to write? Here's one that we get a lot. So why do I need to have 3 versions of my bio, 3 different size versions of my bio? Surely my bio is enough and I can just modify it as I go. No, not relevant. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And you'll just have to ask a little bit more. How rude.
Watch our Facebook Live on how to write a bio.
And this is what I mean by giving context, right? So sometimes you actively want to give some context as to why it's needed in the bigger picture. So they may not need it right now, but they need to consider it because it's going to be relevant later on for them. But a lot of the context giving is absolutely still around this, why they, specifically them, have got this issue. And sometimes that's about why they've got this issue at this time. So sometimes it's not about the issue, but it's the what are they doing, or when is it that they're doing this. So sometimes, for example, if you're doing promotions, so I'm going to put this in context, right? If you're doing a promotion, if you're beginning to plan your marketing calendar for the next 6 months, you need to be starting to think about what's happening around Christmas or what's happening for the summer in some way. So it might actually be that they've got the problem in a time referenced way, rather than just a why they've got the problem. So I hope that makes sense to you, because for those people who are doing a marketing plan, they might need to start thinking about Christmas right now. And a lot of people will go, but it's April. And so your job is to help them understand why that's really necessary, particularly if they're reliant on other people doing promotion for them, because that's going to impact on you, because you can't just knock on somebody's door and say, hey, do you want to promote this thing for me with 2 weeks to go? Because actually those people's schedules have already been written because they've also been planning. So some of it is about actually helping people understand not only the why of it, but the when of it, and when and why they might be having the issue around this timing. So obviously, one of the big things around this is just helping people demystify stuff. So the context giving is maybe things like, we're big fans of this. So you'll find some of the resources that we do are comparison groups. Do I choose this thing or this thing? But you don't, a lot of the time it feels like because you don't have the right information, it feels like you're comparing apples with oranges and you don't quite know what the context is. So that's really good, free content that you can give out that allows you to demonstrate your expertise, but also allows somebody to understand again why they might need a particular thing rather than the other thing. So quizzes, comparison matrices, information that allows them to make a choice, that's good free content.
And I think the last one, which not the last one, but the most popular ones that we've chosen here for free content is when you actually give your content a bit of personality. And this is when you start to show behind the scenes content. And actually, when we did a Facebook Live about the 6 most converting content that you can do out there.
That's number 52.
So go and check out that Facebook Live if you want more ideas about types of content. But this is one of the ones that converts the most because people feel like they get involved in your world a little bit more. So this is where you're actually, so say for example, we would demo some software and we share the screen, like we did a how to use Zoom hour-and-a-half training a couple of weeks ago, where we were actually doing all the behind the scenes of how our laptops were set up, what webcams we were using, and showing the back end of Zoom. That's a behind the scenes. And then you've also got behind the scenes. We normally go live from our retreat when we're setting the room up, or Connect and Create days, and people actually feel like they can go and check out your live events before actually being invited themselves or being there. Or also behind the scenes is actually being honest and vulnerable with content. So when things don't go well, you share that with your world and you share that with your audience, so they don't see that the life of a speaker or a coach is all bells and whistles. It's not. So this is the type of thing where you're actually giving your content personality. You're making it really inviting. People are feeling that they're more in your world because they get to see behind the scenes, but they also get to see demonstrating your content in action. So yeah, you talk about this all the time, but until I saw you blah, 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 I didn't actually realize how that was actually going to be useful. So it's that bringing your content to life through behind the scenes sharing. So that's all about free content. We've done content that can raise awareness, content that can answer questions, content that gives context around your content. That's quite hard to say. And content that basically delivers behind the scenes backstage information. So and those types of things, as I said to you before, are live demos, they're images of you behind the scenes at events, or just how you're documenting putting together your online course, for example. That's what people want to see. So think about what you can create in the free content now that is purely that, meeting them where they're at, raising the awareness and telling them what the path's going to look like. Yep.
So one of the things is, if you think about free content as the demonstration of what is possible. So it's you sharing your expertise and demonstrating what is possible without necessarily explaining how to do it, because they're not even at that point yet. Sometimes people need to, once I see something is possible, I need to sit with that for a moment and go, oh, so okay, hang on, now that I know it's possible, where does that fit for me? So you need to leave the space enough for them to go, where does it fit for me? Okay, now I know those people have it, let me go to the paid content.
And that's why we say that free content is normally what we class as what content, right? So that's when you're basically going here, they're asking all the questions, what, and you're showing up with that guidance of what it could look like. And this is your chance to really shine and show your expertise, show how you've got this information, this answer, or this guidance of how they can move forward. And so they begin to trust you. It's not saying you keep all the goodies back, because sometimes, as I say, if you look at any of our Facebook Lives, people always say to us, my God, you teach so much.
Yeah.
But have a look at them with your another awareness when you watch the next ones or you go and watch our recordings, because we do give a lot, but it feels like an awesome amount for you at the stage you're at for a new topic.
That's
because
right.
we are opening up this new world to you that you didn't know about. Oh, podcasting, platforms, scheduling, microphones, it's overwhelming. So if we did all that and told you how to set up seasons and blah, 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 you'd be like, I'm overwhelmed. I just want to know what platform or what microphone is the best one to use right now. That's my first question.
That's right.
And we answer a lot of those early questions in these lives. But then when you go into our coaching world and where we actually hold your hand through the process, it opens up, it expands. It's like another dimension, right? Of, oh my God, I didn't know. And that's the answer, the question we get the most. I didn't know this stuff. And that's what you should be opening up into the paid content. Yes. So free content is all the answers to the what's. The paid content is where you show them the hows. Yes. This is where your content is the implementation that teaches them to get the transformation they're after. It's usually your IP, it's usually a series of steps. It's basically where your full expertise comes to life. Mm-hmm. And you literally blow them away, literally.
And it is where you are demonstrating your fullness of knowledge at this point. And part of the reason why they are now ready to accept it is because you have been priming them with your free content. You've gotten them to a stage where they are ready and the timing is right. So two things there. They are ready, so they have enough information about they're choosing it, and the timing is right for them. So they've actively gone, now is the right time for me to put this amount of attention in. And that's the point at which they then step in. Go for it, Kelly.
So they're ready and the timing's right, but there's actually, I think there's a little step in between, because when they're ready, they're looking at the free content. The free content will move them from A to B or C. So they have got either increased clarity or a small result in the right direction of where they want to go. So that helps then with the building of the trust that you're the right person to teach me, you're going to get me results. Then that's when the paid content goes on. So I think this moving them just one step forward is what, when you read free content out there and you're like, yeah, I knew that, whatever, that's not the impression you want to have. You want to blow their minds. And most of this stuff, because I think I said right at the beginning, you know an awful lot. This information that you take for granted is mind-blowing to these people. So you just have to just appreciate that, oh, where do I look at a camera when I do a Facebook Live? I mean, that's one of the most popular asked questions. And you think, oh my God, I'm going into so much depth here. When they're asking that simplest question, that's what I need to demonstrate, okay?
So it is, there's an old adage that says, never assume anything. It makes an ass of you and me. For those of you who are kind of, I'll scribble it in a moment if you imagine that word spelled out. But it's exactly that. So that piece around we meet them where they're at is the thing that allows them to feel, and this is the key, you are building trust by giving the free content, by actively moving them forward a couple of steps with something that they can do and implement straight away. You are the person that lodges in the back of their mind as when I'm ready to do that, this is the person or the people that I'm going to do this with. And that's really what you're generating. So your free content, you are not planning to go, I'm going to write this blog and I'm going to have 17 people sign up to my thing as a result of this one blog. That's not how it works, right? What it does is it starts through your Facebook Live, through the variety of things that we've just actually been speaking about. That's what then generates them coming into your paid content. And of course, that paid content really is around providing the answer, the solution, the formula for when they're ready. It's the thing that is the series of steps that gets them from A to B on just the one thing that they're doing in a short version, but it's also the longer piece as well. And it is where, as Kelly said, it's where you share your full expertise. It's where you actively show them that they have the issue, and you tell them that they can do it, and then you show them how to do it, and then you reassure them that they've done it the correct way. It's a little bit like newscasting, you know, tell them what to do, tell them, you know, tell them what you're going to tell them what to do, and then tell them what they've done. That's exactly what this is like. So you are at the stage when you're doing your paid content. It's the stage at which they're willing to pay because they know they have a problem and they know that you've helped them prior to them actively signing up on something, which is really good. So one of the key things here is that back to the whole, well, what do I give as paid and what do I give as free? Our call to action for you is to go back and look through everything. Hang on a second, Joe's just saying something. I'm so much of a roll your sleeves up and get stuck in sort of gal, and I find it quite challenging talking about what I do. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, Joe, and that's the point at which you are.
I'm a bit confused. What's the problem?
So the problem here, Joe's saying that I think what you're saying, Joe, is that you're an overgiver. Is that what you're saying? So she's when she hears a problem, she just wants to go in and solve it and fix it.
Yeah. And one of the things I'd say to a lot of people that actually do that, I'm a massive, and I think most of the people that are in our world are empowerers.
Yeah.
Actually, some of the things when you do that, you disempower people.
Yeah.
Because you have the insight and all this knowledge, you go in and you make all these changes. And I know, is this Joe Brianti?
Yeah. No, this is Joe Fellows.
Right, but they're both techies,
right? Well, both of them actually.
They're both techies. I saw them both on the live. But so what you can do is you can go in and you can wave your magic wand and come up with this lovely finished masterpiece, and they are really grateful for that. But next month they have the same question, Joe, and then they come to you again. And because you've done it all and it's all been behind the scenes and mystified, and you've jumped in and taken over, you haven't empowered that person to know how to either do it themselves or at least have an awareness of what you're doing, so they can start to make long changes and have that empowerment back to themselves. So I know a lot of us, as we said, are eager to change and are eager to help. But one thing we need to go, why have you got this problem in the first place? So you don't keep on coming back to me with the same problem.
Yeah.
And that's where you're doing more help for them by reining them in and actually stopping and breathing and evaluating before you start making changes. So hopefully, I know how much both of those Joes are givers actually.
I know.
That would be some insight to make you think, am I helping them the best way possible by just fixing everything?
I'm going to help you with that right now. But before I do that, so Kelly, just as a reiteration here, Joe's Fellows has actually said when creating my free stuff, she finds it quite difficult to break it down into the free content. So that whole focus on what and why, not how. So Joe, you have to remember that you are a how-to person, but you have to earn the right by establishing the what and the why. Hang on a minute. And Joe Brianti's obviously got it. By George, she's got it. She's, oh my godding, this is exactly me. Hashtag fixer, hashtag doer. And so it's that tendency that we're asking you to absolutely, you have to remember, this is a bit like feeding somebody a piece of cake, right? It's like presenting them with a great, of course I'm going to make a cake analogy. I'm obviously hungry.
These are babies.
Good point. I'm going to go with cake, right? So it's a bit like, imagine the most delicious Victoria sponge, right? And it's a big, full, round cake full of creamy bits and whatever else. And we'll make it gluten-free and whatever else right now, just for the fun of it. Yeah, and vegan, but it's a really beautiful cake for whatever your tastes are, right? But the point is that you can still only eat the cake piece by piece. And even if you sat and ate the whole cake piece by piece in one sitting, Kelly, I'm watching you, right? You would probably feel sick and you would probably not enjoy it, right? Because it is shoving a whole ton of stuff in you that you can't accommodate all at the same time. So that's the whole thing. So you have to put yourself in their shoes. I'm obviously on my soapbox right now, so I'm sorry if I'm sounding like I'm shouting at you, but
we've been going for quite a while.
Yeah. But the point about this is that you have to step into their shoes and go, what's overwhelming for me? If I've just realized the reason why I'm hesitating on something, I have to let that land inside me on the back of the content, the free content that you've just given me, that's made me go, oh, and I'm not ready to have another slice of cake. I'm just not ready. So that, oh, hang on, there's a whole bunch of oh my gods now. So let me read you these out, and then I'm going to fix it for you. Okay, so I'm going to at least raise your awareness of what you might be doing as the helper or the fixer. So let me read these out. Taruna's loving the analogy and she's waving goodbye. Taruna's saying, I have to leave, prepare for a mentoring session. Many thanks, you always lift my spirit. Manika's saying, oh my God, that's so me. I just want to solve the problem. Now I know I'm not helping them long term. Yay! So, take a note out of Manika's book, please. And here's how to watch for it. So let me give you some practical guidance on how to do this. So you need to start using your own. So for some of you, this is going to be easy. For some of you, it's like, energy, what's that, right? So you need to start using your own energy to know when you're overgiving. And you'll know this because there are thoughts in your head or feelings in your body that allow you to understand this. So let me point out some of those. Go for it, Kelly.
Some people might relate to the word intuition more than energy.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So the thing about this is that some of you will fall into, and they're definitely showing up here on the live at the moment, you fall into the I just want to help you syndrome. I want you to come out of the pain. You see somebody's pain, you know you've got the answer, and you just absolutely want to help them. You want to be generous with what you know. And that leads you through to overgiving or oversharing, because you just want to fix it for them. So #fixer, Joe Brianti, you've nailed it, right? So for some of you, it's actively just understanding and knowing that sense of, wow, I just want to help you. So if you hear those words in your head, or you have that impetus, you have that intuition to, I just want to help you, hold back just a little bit and start to just go, okay, and what would be helpful? That's a really great question to ask you. And what level of help can I actively give in some way?
And sometimes, Helena, isn't it the case, and I think a lot of coaches can relate to this, that sometimes you want to help them more than they actually want to help themselves.
Okay,
right?
so I'm actually going to read out what Joe's just written.
Okay.
Exactly what you've just said. So she's saying, often my avatar doesn't want to learn how to do it themselves. They want someone else to do it for them. So with my free content, am I just demoing my expertise?
Yeah, and then they pay a premium for the price of you doing it for them.
And that's how it goes. And Menika's saying that she feels that in her stomach, and she knows that she still kind of is doing this. So and Menika's saying overdoing equals not helping. Well, she said overdoing and not helping, but overdoing equals not helping. And I think that's probably a better equation. The second thing is when you have the thought, or when you have the gut feeling, the kind of that intuition around, I should be being paid for this. You want to be stepping back and listening to yourself. You want to be getting quiet and going, okay, so if that's true, then at what point do I need to stop? Kelly, I knew this would be a back and forth bit.
It's much harder when we're not together.
I know.
I think we've mentioned this before, but I think one of the things to get your head around is that I love this concept of spin selling.
Yes.
And there's a really good book called Spin Selling. So I can't link anything.
I'll do it.
This basically gives you the opportunity. You still have the conversation with people about their problem, and you still understand how you can help them. But the spin selling actually positions you and helps them, for both Joe and Menika really. They understand what the consequences or the impact is if they don't make this change. And then they understand for themselves whether they want to go ahead and do something about it. So the free content helps them raise their awareness of why they've got the problem. But then when you're in this back and forth conversation, rather than solving the problem, you have a spin selling conversation, which still adds even more value, but you're not giving away the transformation, which is so important that we need to say. You need to be paid for that transformation. If you see them making massive changes, or they go, that was awesome, I'm now going to go away and do all of that, thanks very much, and you're just like, whoa, wait, hang on a minute, you've given too much. So I would definitely, if you've got some downtime and some reading time, read that book so you can help your conversion conversations with prospects.
Yeah. And so that's the one that really is this whole, when you are sharing and you're internally kind of experiencing that whole, hang on a minute, this is what I get paid for normally. Here's what I'm going to say to that. You have permission at any point, and usually this is in a conversation, or it's in a typed kind of, we're going back and forth and suddenly there are 17 back and forth kind of messages on Facebook or whatever it is. And you have permission at any point, once it gets to that barrier where you go, hang on a minute, this is what I usually get paid for, or hang on a minute, this is what I should get paid for, to stop and go, look, shall we just go into a conversation about how I can help you? Because right now, at that point, they've already demonstrated for you that they trust you and what you're saying.
Or if you already have, if you've built this portfolio business of multiple multiple products, then you can go, oh, what you're asking me now is actually covered in my book, in my online course, whatever. Do you want to go and access that now? And you put the link in the conversation. You're still helping them, but they've gone to the fact where they need the teaching part. And so you direct them to a product that can do that for them.
Which of course is you being exceedingly helpful. And that's why we're saying that is the free content that you've created that stops those. So those frequently asked questions turned into something that can be given away is a really good thing, because it saves your time, your effort, your energy in some way. And the biggest thing is don't, whenever you feel a taken for grantedness, that is a call inside of you to actively step back and go, okay, how can I get creative with this? What is it that I'm consistently saying and doing that I need to put into an infographic or a Facebook Live in some way that means that I don't have to spend my time, energy, and attention on delivering that over and over in a one-to-one conversation? Because actually, what is it that I can teach them that leads them through to? Because remember, they only need to know this much. They don't need to know this much, just this much.
And I know people take the mick out of us all the time, because people ask questions and we always go, yeah. I mean, if Andrea's still watching, we go, yeah, a link for this. We've done a webinar on this, or we've done a Facebook Live on this, because that frees up our time. Because when you are doing those frequently asked questions, free content, you can just signpost them to the stuff which is your own IP, which you use them along the user journey to the paid stuff. But it still solves their problem, and we're not there typing the same thing or having the same conversations again and again and again. So it's really effective use of your time.
Yeah, because you are change makers and you want to reach millions, and so you can't do that one person at a time. This is why you're creating this. So Joanne actually had a really good lesson, and then we'll kind of wrap this up because we're aware that it is your lunchtime, obviously. Or breakfast. Morning, Amy. Amy is around. So Joanne Brianti said, I gave away so much in a conversation once that the client got their VA to make a botched job attempt to do it. This session is making me see just how much I've given away.
Nice. Well, and all learning is often expensive, but let's not learn it the same lesson again and again and again, Jo, right?
Exactly. So the key thing here that we're really saying to you is use the thoughts in your head, the feelings in your body, however it shows up, to actively indicate to you when you are overgiving or oversharing. It's usually an indication that you need to value what you've learned and spent time and energy and effort and money actively becoming an expert in. And then understanding how you can meet them where they're at, where their problem is, so that you're only talking to them here by just establishing the what and the why, or possibly the when they are having the problem. Because that's enough for them to go, oh, thank goodness you get it. And you've given me a tiny little step forward. Because sometimes, remember, when people are stuck, they're not moving. So your job is just to get them to take one tiny step. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. So we want to get them in motion with one tiny little step. And that's really what we want to donate to them as free content that allows us to establish our credibility, that allows us to be the expert for them, and that allows us to become the trusted advisor that when they are fully ready to take the proper step, they'll then come to us for the paid content.
And remember, you guys are already unique because you care.
Yes.
And that comes across in the content, right? Because you're not just doing this because it's a great blog post for SEO and it's going to get traffic and I'm going to make loads of money. Ultimately, you're all change makers, which means that you really care about serving your avatar. What you need to make sure is that you're not overwhelming them and that you're taking them on a journey which also serves you, because that's what the law of reciprocity is, all those types of things, is it needs to be a continuous giving of an exchange. And if you're always giving and not receiving, you're not going to be a coach, consultant, or speaker for very long.
and that's a nice call to action right there, isn't it? So go back and look at, what am I currently giving away? What can I repurpose into stuff that I can actively make into things that I could give away? But also, what do I need to be holding back from saying? Because the chances are, when you actively look at what you're putting out there, you might even go back over that PDF that you've got or the checklist that you've got and go, actually, half of this is enough, because this other half is what I actually value and get paid for. This is what I actively do for people. So for some of you, this live may well be a call to use the hours that you may actually have additionally available to you right now to rejig and go, that goes in the free content bucket. This goes in the never unless they've paid me bucket.
This is the transformation bucket. Just think, are they transforming with what you're giving them, or are they slightly moving forward? Because that's your indication, right?
Yeah. Brilliant distinction. So on that note, we will send you off into your week. Thank you so much. We will be back here live at 1 o'clock next Tuesday, BST. And for those of you who are joining us from the globe, we love that you were joining us, and do put a hashtag replay, even if it's right at the end, because we do like to see a little bit of that. So have a brilliant, wonderful week, and we'll catch you next one.
See you.